Hey everyone, this is Roy Mayorga of Stone Sour. I'm here to talk about how the drums were recorded for the new album.
How often did you change the drum heads during tracking?
Well, try not to change them too much because once we get a good drum tone going on, you don't want to disrupt that. I would say after every third, fourth take.
Are you muffling the drums, or are they tuned wide open?
They're tuned wide open from the start. Sometimes you kind of have to do a little bit of muffling. I don't like to muffle drums. I don't like to stifle drums, but you have to do it sometimes, especially when you got a lot of compression going on and the mic starts bringing up the floor a bit and you really hear overtones you don't want to hear. So we stuck a couple like moon gels about that size, maybe like one or two on each tom. A couple pieces of board tape like that on the bottom head just to kill some of the overtone. This is just, you know, good tone.
Who was tuning the drums?
John Nicholson.
And how often did he tune them?
He would actually come in after every take and just kind of go, just go through each tom and really check for the tonality, make sure everything is still responding the right way, and he was on top of it. It was definitely a pleasure, to work with someone like John.
How long did it take you to get set up and get a drum sound?
It took like a day, about 45 to an hour, setting up the drum kit. I already had it pre-marked and preset, so that didn't take that long. Setting up the mics probably what took the longest, and then getting the drum sounds was a breeze. I mean, you have Paul Fig and Nick Raskulenix, at the board. They just instant.
What do you have in your headphone mix?
I pretty much have my whole entire kit. I'm using actually in-ear monitors, so it's not as restricting as using headphones, big cans. I used to use headphones and had to put a stupid headband around my head to keep them going because I'm always moving my head. But I used the in-ear monitors that I use live, so I really get a crisp, detailed mix. I have basically just all the drums and maybe a little bit of the room mics poking through just to give me some vibe and some air. Things are panned, accordingly to my view, like tom, floor, crash, 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 crash. So it's all there, it's not mono or anything. I have it totally spread out like how I hear it without those in. And I have a little bit of bass in there, a little bit of guitar, and click track as loud as I can take it.
Please show us the microphones you used on the kit. Tell us about how and why you chose them and how they were placed.
The microphones were chosen just between Nick and Paul. We used a whole assortment of mics. Let's start with the kick drum. This is an NS10 speaker. We used this on the front head of the kick drum. This basically picks up all the lows inside the kick. This is a Sennheiser 602. This was inside. This gives you the more punch and attack. We had this FET 47 mic, which was about a foot, 2 feet away from the kick drum. That picks up the air. And this was on the batter side of the kick drum. This is a Neumann U87. This was on the other side, on the batter side of the kick drum, picking up the kick and bottom snare. So you kind of had that going on. Snare drum. We had this Granelli modified 57 that was on the top. This baffle here was used to separate these two mics. This KM84 basically was on the shell with this Sennheiser 441 on the bottom, along with this U87 that was on the batter side underneath the snare drum itself. So you put all those two together, oh actually those 7 mics together, you get a pretty sick kick and snare sound going. On the toms, alright, before I get into this, what we use on the toms, this is a microphone I've always wanted to use on toms. Most studios that I've been to would shit their pants if they saw a mic like this on a tom, because they'd be like, no, you cannot use it. There's a very limited amount of these mics in some studios, you know, that I've been to, but fortunately here at Blackbird, there's triples and quadruples of everything. Thank you, Mr. McBride. You rock. The U67. That, right about there. It really picks up the true tone of the toms. You really get a full sound. It's really just big sounding. We also use this U87 on the hi-hat. It's nice. Sounds good. First time for me ever using for overheads is the Telefunken 251. This sounds amazing. This really gets the full body of the whole drum kit. These C451s used as spot mics. You put these together, you get the crispy tss with this and the warm body with these. And you mix these together along with this 57 down the middle. It's a great combination of these three mics right there for overheads. Faraway room mics, we used M50s, and for close room mic we used the C12s, C12A. Here we have this Electro Voice 666 mic known as the Devil mic, mic of the beast. This was about 5 foot away from the kick drum. Devil mic, 666, mic of the beast.
How many channels did you use for the drums?
26 in all.